Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to show you all of the creepy books I bought for October and the other stuff I've bought recently. So I haven't done a book haul in a while, but I've picked up a few things recently that I'm just excited to talk about. I'm hoping they're going to be read in October, so this is partially an October TBR, at least for the spooky books. So I'll start with those first because that's what I'm most excited for. First off, I have Model Home by River Solomon. This is a book that's been called a different kind of haunted house story. In this book, we follow our main character, Esri, who is struggling a bit in their life. They have children. They are not 100% attentive. They have a lot of trouble going on in their life, especially stemming from their childhood. But at the beginning of the novel, they are called back to their hometown, their home from their childhood, to meet up with their sisters and deal with the possible death of their parents. I just started this book, so I'm not quite sure what's happening. But our main character is also dealing with Nightmare Mother, which I'm not sure if that's their real mom when she's like in a bad mental place, or if there's some sort of entity that we're dealing with from this childhood home. So I'm excited to find out if this is actually paranormal, but I know this is a horror novel that has been getting some praise so far. We have blurbs from Sarah Gailey and Victor LaValle on the back, whom I love, so I'm excited to give this one a read. Next up, I have another haunted house story. This is The House of Last Resort by Christopher Golden. This book follows an American couple who goes to Italy where they are selling old abandoned houses to anyone in the world for $1. So this American couple buys it. They think they're going on a romantic adventure of sorts, go renovate this house in Italy. It'll be fun. But it turns out that the house they purchased has a dark history. There's some sort of religious rituals that were taking place in the house. And while our couple is in the house, they start having weird things happen, like noises and doors opening and closing. And it's quite possible there is something more sinister going on in this house. So as you can see, I'm looking for some haunted house scary stories. I do have another one up next. This is Hell House by Richard Matheson. There's a blurb on it from Stephen King who says it's the scariest haunted house novel ever written. Now we know Stephen King likes to exaggerate. He loves hyperbole, but I'm hoping this is a scary novel. So this is about a house in Maine called the Belasco House, which the local residents nearby call it the Hell House. This house has some weird stuff going on, and anyone who's went to investigate it has ended up murder, suicide, insanity, just bad things happening to them. So this follows four strangers who are paid by a wealthy man to investigate this house, see if it's really haunted. There's a couple of mediums, a physicist, and they have to stay in this house and find out what's really going on. And it turns into one of the scariest nights of their lives. Next, I have one that's more so a spooky town. This is Edenville by Sam Rubeline. This one is about an author who publishes their debut novel and it kind of flops. It does not go so well. But a school wants to hire them as a resident teacher. But his girlfriend is weary of the town. I think she used to live there in Edenville. And she is very skeptical about going there, but he decides it's a great opportunity. I'm going to go anyways. But in this one, the town is a little spooky. So the residents there are overly friendly. We have weird things going on there, but he is determined to get through it, to get inspiration for his next story, to make a bounce back from his failed novel. And we're going to see what's going on in the town of Edenville. I love this beautiful cover with the little house in the middle of the sunflower. It's very beautiful. Then I have What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher. This is the sequel to What Moves the Dead, which is a novel that is a reimagining of the House of Usher. We're following our main character as they go see their friend who sent them a letter saying that her husband thinks that she's dying. So our main character goes to check them out, see what they can do to help, and there ends up being weird things happening in this house and something very wrong with their friend that they try to help figure out. This is the sequel. This is following that character and a couple of people that we picked up along the way as we investigate this maybe paranormal deaths happening in their town, as they say at a hunting lodge, where there's a rumor or a myth that there is a creature that sits on your chest and steals the breath out of you. I have actually already read this. It's a really good time if you're looking for a horror fantasy that's not actually scary, just a little creepy and eerie. This one and the first book, What Moves the Dead, are great ones to pick up. So I had plans today to record this video, but unfortunately some of my recent purchases have not made it to me yet, and I think they're lost in the mail at this point. I keep getting updates. I finally got an update that it shipped, but it said it's gonna arrive yesterday, so I can't wait any longer. I'm just gonna tell you about them here and you'll see them arrive in a future video. But the first one is Haunt Sweet Home by Sarah Pinksor. This is a novella following a reality TV show where our main character gets a job working for the company, working in the production crew, and her job is to make the scary things happen. So play spooky noises, open and close doors to get that spooky haunted stuff caught on camera. But I think something happened where it turned into an actual paranormal story. So I saw Sarah Pinksor at a book event alongside T. Kingfisher, and I just got intrigued from that premise. It looked like a good time. And while I was there, T. Kingfisher recommended the book The Fisherman by John Langan, which is also on the way to me now. They said it's the scariest book ever. So obviously I want to read it. Now, you would think I would love to be terrified. I don't know. I like a paranormal scary. I don't like a slasher scary. So I'm hoping that's the case here. But The Fisherman follows two men who are widowers and they love to fish, and they start hearing rumors about this fishing spot that they just have to go see if it's real. And I think some scary fish stuff happens. I love the show River Monsters, and I love the idea of maybe it actually being a monster. I have no idea if that's what's actually happening, but I hear it's scary and I want to be scared, so that one's on its way. Next, I picked up The Drowning House by Cherie Priest. I know Cherie Priest has a lot of books, but I don't think I've ever read one before. This one intrigued me because it's a haunted house about a house that has fallen into the Pacific Ocean, but I think it comes back and we're basically finding out what happened in that house. There is a relative of the family who lived there that is trying to figure out what's going on, and there's also an evil dark history that we're going to uncover. And then the last one I have in the mail is At Home with the Horrors by Sammy Scott. This is a short story collection by that author that's following a bunch of different, I think 14 different scary stories, chilling tales, all set in the horror genre. And again, At Home with the Horrors. I'm really looking for a perfect haunted house story, so that's my goal here. Now we're gonna take a little turn away from the scary books and just talk about some of the other books that I've picked up recently. I have The Tusks of Extinction by Ray Naylor. This is a book set in the future where a woman who was very invested in saving the elephants in our modern times, trying to keep elephants from going to extinct from all of the poaching happening, she dedicated her life to that. But in her journey to save the elephants, she died. Sometime before she died, her consciousness was uploaded to some scientific group of sorts. And then hundreds of years later, elephants are extinct, but science has managed to bring back mammoths. So the scientists upload that elephant activist consciousness into a mammoth because the mammoths don't know how to live. The scientists are from hundreds of years in the future and they've never experienced elephants or mammoths. And this woman who dedicated her lives to elephants knows how elephants work, the group dynamics and such. So they make her the lead mammoth to try to keep the mammoths from going extinct again. So that's a lot to explain about this tiny sliver of a book. But I have read, gosh, maybe half of it, which you're probably wondering, how can you read so little at a time? It's because this book is very sad. Like, the author wants you to know how devastating what's happening with elephants is, which it is very sad, but reading multiple scenes of elephants getting murdered and their tusks and feet being carved off, or like stumbling on those dead bodies, has been very painful. But it definitely worked to make me emotionally invested in what's going on, and now I want to see, can these mammoths make it? Then I did pick up a book that I've already read because it's a beautiful new edition, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I don't know why I couldn't resist picking this up, but it's just so pretty. The pretty editions of books have absolutely been getting to me. It's yellow. It says, "I feel overwhelmed that you exist." Like, how sweet is that? If you don't know, Emily Henry is a lovely adult romance author, and these are like some of the biggest books ever, I think, in the romance genre right now. Like, Emily Henry is really, really popular right now, and she made a beautiful edition, so I had to pick it up. Next up, not scary, but a very popular mystery that I have not read yet is Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I have always wanted to read this. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I now have a copy though of And Then There Were None. This is about a group who goes off to an island and they're getting plucked off one by one. I have read multiple stories inspired by or retellings of this book, and I hope that hasn't spoiled me too badly for what actually happens in it, because I know this is just a mystery classic, a classic whodunit, a locked door mystery. I don't know, all the classic genre tropes started here, or a lot of them did, and I really want to get to this one this year. Next up, I have a sequel. I couldn't tell you what number book in the series this is, but this is Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Seanan McGuire. This has to be maybe book number 8 or 9 in the Wayward Children series. I am about, I want to say 5 or 6 books in. I think the next one for me to read is Across the Green Grass Fields. It's a tiny little book. It follows a cast of characters. Each one's more focused on a specific character that we're introduced to. It is a group of children who at some point have went off into another world. All sorts of different magical worlds exist, but basically they go off into a world and at some point they come back to our world and they're having trouble coping with it. So they go to a school environment where they are with other children who are also having trouble coping with the real world, and they're all desperate to get back to where they came from. For some of them, they can get back, some of them they never will, and they are stuck here, which is very hard for them to deal with. This one is a world with dinosaurs, so I'm very excited to read that. I love dinosaurs, and I'm a few behind, but hopefully I'll get to this one soonish. Next, I have a book that was recommended to me. This is Rivers of London by Ben Aaronovitch. I love this cover. It's beautiful. This book is part of a long, I'm pretty sure it's a long series. It's kind of a paranormal, urban, fantasy mystery, but in it we're following Peter Grant in London. He is a police officer of sorts, dealing with paranormal issues, so vampires and such. He is an apprentice wizard and he's trying to save London from paranormal activities. I'm really looking forward to reading this. It just sounds like a fun time. I love London and I love paranormal creatures and mysteries. And then the last book I'm going to share in this vlog is a little preview into the holiday season. This is Murder at Christmas, 10 classic crime stories for the festive season. I haven't heard of any of the authors that have stories in this book, but I'm very excited for Christmas. I love reading Christmas murder mysteries, even though a lot of them that I read last year were not good. I'm hoping this year I have some better results. I'm hoping that I find a lot of fun crime thriller Christmas books. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know. And if you read any of the books that I shared in this video, especially the scary ones, let me know which one is the scariest. Or if you have a recommendation, if I'm looking for a haunted house, paranormal, that kind of spooky vibe for October. So that is all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon in another video.